Hey everyone, welcome to Practices with Peter. I'm Peter, and today we got a full body flow. We're going to focus a little bit more on the hamstrings and the back, in addition to getting some whole body movement. So feel free to hop on your mat, and let's get started. We'll get started laying down on our backs. And you can come into any position that feels good for you. So a couple options. One is to have your arms and legs long. Another option is to come into a reclined butterfly stretch if you want a gentle hip opener. And if you're feeling any low back pain, you can come into constructive rest pose. So that's bringing your feet on your mat with knees bent, feet about mat width distance apart, and then let your knees fall in to touch each other. So you can take any of those three options. You can take a different option too if something else feels better. And once you find the spot that's cozy for you, take some time to maybe close your eyes, check in with how you're doing right now, how you're feeling, and let go of any worries or to-dos of the day or of the week. Just notice, what is it like to be you right now? And know that whatever feeling that you're experiencing, whatever emotions are present, that it's totally okay and acceptable to feel that way. You can embrace it for what it is. And see if there's any tension that you're holding on to that you can let go of a little bit more. So unfurrow your eyebrows, unclench your jaw, let your whole face be relaxed. Feel that relaxation run down through your arms and to your fingers, and through your body, through your legs, and to your feet. And if you haven't already, go ahead and bring your awareness to your breath. Notice your inhales and your exhales, in and out through your nose. And see how your body feels like too as you continue to breathe here. So take note of your chest and your belly, how they expand and contract with your breath. You may even notice the skin in your upper back, or also around your chest and your belly, how your skin stretches and contracts, also with your breath. And then bring your awareness to the inside of your nose and notice how it feels there. So you may notice that on your inhales, the air feels a little bit cooler, and on your exhales, it feels a little bit warmer. And we'll continue to be here for another couple rounds of breath. Just breathing gently, easily, and noticing these sensations. And before we get started with the movement in our class today, I always like to say that we're ultimately here to do something that's good for you, and everyone's unique. So if I call out something that's not feeling great for you today, or you want to do something different, you're definitely welcome to do something different or skip poses. Take one more round of breath here. And then slowly you can start to hug your knees in towards your chest. And for this hug, you can find what feels good. So in terms of how tightly you hug, maybe you just have your hands on your knees and it's a very, very loose, not even a hug even, just kind of hands on your knees here. Or perhaps you go for a really tight squeeze where you're hugging your knees in towards your chest. So you can kind of play with in between those two spots, what feels good for you. Maybe you add some motion too by rocking side to side or front and back, or draw some circles on your mat with your low back. Then we'll go ahead and start in a supine twist. So go ahead and let both knees drop over towards the right. Your arms can come out into either a goalpost or a T, whatever is more comfortable for you. Maybe you turn your gaze to the left as well. And once you arrive here in your twist, you can once again see if there's any tension that you can let go of. Maybe your face or your body unintentionally got a little bit tense again. So go ahead and let that go. And just be here. Continue to breathe. We'll take 5 more rounds of breath here. And slowly you can start to bring your knees back to center and then let them drop over to the other side. Maybe you turn your gaze to flip directions as well. And once you arrive here, take some time to consciously relax. Maybe close your eyes. And just notice how this pose feels. We'll take 5 more rounds of breath on this second side. And slowly you can start to bring your knees back to center. From here, go ahead and hug your right knee in towards your chest as you let your left leg go long. Your left foot can rest on your mat. As you hug your right knee in towards your chest here, if this feels really good, you're welcome to stay here. Otherwise, you can take a couple different options. You can massage your leg by moving it left and right. So you would hug it in towards the midline of your chest and then towards your outer right shoulder, and going back and forth between those two spots. Or if along that path anywhere in between feels good to hang out in stillness a while longer, you're welcome to do that too. You can really just go with whatever feels good for you. Take that. Take 2 more rounds of breath here. And go ahead and switch your grip so that instead of your hands on top of your knee, bring them underneath your knee. So you're like grabbing underneath by your hamstring. And then start to extend your right knee to open up your leg into a gentle hamstring stretch here. You don't have to go super hard or open your leg all the way. Your knee can definitely still be bent. I'm just getting a very gentle stretch here. No need to really push it here just yet. Take 1 more round of breath here. And then you can let go with your hands and slowly lower your right leg down to meet your left. And we'll pause for a moment here just to notice how your two legs feel compared to each other. Then we'll switch to the other side, so you can go ahead and hug in your left knee towards your chest. So same options here. If hugging your left knee in just like this feels great, please stay here. And you have that option again to go back and forth. So you can hug your knee in towards your chest and then towards your outer left shoulder, moving side to side, or if anything feels good in between where you want to just hang out in stillness, you're welcome to do that too. Take 2 more rounds of breath here. Then go ahead and switch your grip so that your hands are underneath your knee. Start to straighten your left knee a little bit. Definitely no need to go all the way. Again, just taking a nice gentle hamstring, getting warmed up a little bit. One more round of breath here. And then you can go ahead and let go with your hands and let your left foot come down to meet your right. And we'll pause again just to notice how your two legs feel compared to each other now. Then go ahead and hug both knees into your chest again and start to rock and roll front and back along the length of your mat. And we'll go back and forth a few times here in terms of how fast you go or how much distance you roll. That's up to you. It's like I don't know, a boat, seesaw, half circle, whatever shape you want to be. I don't know. Anyway, the next time you get enough momentum to come up into a seat, you can go ahead and do that. We'll all meet in the seat. All right. Once you're in your seat, we'll start to take some seated cats and cows. So with your inhale, you'll lean forward and lift your chin for your seated cow. As you exhale, lean back and tuck your chin for your seated cat. Inhale for cow. Exhale for cat. And continue to move back and forth between these two poses. You can go at your own pace. No need to be in sync with me. Just make sure you're linking your movement with your breath. That's the most important thing. Inhale, moo. Exhale, meow. Take one more round of cow and cat here, or your moos and meows. And then we'll meet back in our seat. Once you're back in your seat with your next inhale, bring your arms high above your head. And as you exhale, twist over towards the right. Your left hand can rest on your right knee, right hand on the mat behind you. And in this twist, imagine a silk thread pulling the top of your head up towards the sky. Nice tall spine. And find a degree of the twist that feels good for you. So if you want a real chill twist, you can do that. If you want a little bit more of a twisty twist, a more spicy twist, you can add some spices to your twist. That didn't really make sense. I apologize. Twist as much as you like. All right, from here we're going to add some more up and down movements again. So keep your right hand where it is on your mat. With your next inhale, pick up your left hand and reach it up and back behind you. As you exhale, bring your left hand back towards your right knee. Inhale brings your left hand up and back. And exhale, left hand to right knee. Again, moving back and forth here, going at your own pace. Whether that's faster, slower, or in sync with me, it's all good. As long as you link your breath with your movement. Take one more round up and down, and then we'll meet back in that twist. Once you're back in the twist, with your next inhale, bring your arms high as you come out of the twist, come back to center. As you exhale, twist over to the other side. So same thing, this side. Imagine that silk thread pulling the top of your head up towards the sky, sitting with a nice tall spine. And in terms of how much you're twisting, whether it's a gentle or more intense twist, go ahead and find what feels good for you there. Or if the spiciness analogy actually made sense to you, add spices to your twist. I don't know. Take 2 more rounds of breath here. Then we'll add some of those up and down movements again. So keep your left hand where it is. With your next inhale, lift your right hand up and back behind you. Exhale, right hand comes back to your left knee. Inhale, right hand goes up. And exhale, right hand comes back to your knee. Again, moving back and forth at your own pace. Linking breath with movement. That's vinyasa. Go ahead and take 1 more round up and down, and then we'll meet back in that twist. Once you're back in your twist, with your next inhale, go ahead and bring your arms high as you come back to center. And as you exhale, bring your hands to the heart center. From here, go ahead and bring your arms high again with your next inhale. Interlace your fingers except the index finger, and then side bend over towards the right. So in the side bend, really reach over, try to stretch out your left side body. So do that by imagine yourself bringing more and more space in between each rib on your left side, and at the same time root down through your left sit bone. So you're rooting down and pulling up to create that stretch in 2 opposite directions. Take 1 more round of breath. You're doing great. And then come back to center. As you exhale, bring your hands to the heart center. With your next inhale, go ahead and bring your arms high above your head. Interlace your fingers again the other way, so the weird way, and then side bend over to the other side. So same thing here, really getting into a side body stretch. You can imagine bringing more space in between each individual rib on your right side this time. At the same time, root down through your right sit bone, creating that stretch by pulling in 2 opposite directions. Root to rise. With your next inhale, go ahead and bring it back to center. And as you exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Ooh, all right. Now go ahead and place your hands on the mat in front of you and roll on forward into 4s. We'll meet in tabletop pose. So in tabletop pose, you've got your shoulders over your wrists and your hips over your knees. Quick alignment check. And then go ahead and extend your right foot long behind you with your right toes grounded on the mat. So from here, you can start to rock and roll front and back a little bit as you work into that right calf. If you want to hold a stretch for a while longer instead of moving back and forth, you're welcome to do that too. Again, you can just find what feels good and go ahead and take that. Take that. All right, then go ahead and pick up your right foot and cross it over towards your left side and plant your right foot down on your left side and peek your gaze to look over your left shoulder back at your right foot. And then go ahead and bring your right knee back to center to meet back in tabletop pose. Extend your left foot long behind you now. Left toes grounded on the mat. Same thing here. You can rock front and back to have some back and forth action, or you can have some stillness action, whatever action feels best for you. And then we'll take it to that side again. So go ahead and pick up your left foot, cross it over on your right side, plant it down, and peek over your right shoulder back at your left foot. Then bring your left foot back to center as we meet back in tabletop pose. From here, go ahead and tuck your toes under and push your hips up into the sky to come into downward facing dog. Bork, bork. All right. From downward facing dog here, so
Your knees don't really need to be straight here. You can find a position that feels good for you, and you can also start to take any movement that feel good for you too. So maybe that's alternating your weight into one foot at a time. Maybe you shake your head yes and no. Or you can lift and lower both heels at the same time. Lots of different options to play with your dog. Such downward dog, much wow. And then we'll all go ahead and meet in a still downward facing dog. From here, go ahead and walk your feet to your hands to come into a forward fold at the top of your mat. So in this forward fold, again, another pose where your knees don't need to be completely straight. You can find a variation that works well for you. So if just having your arms hang out feels good, you're welcome to stay there. You can also come into ragdoll by grabbing opposite elbows. Maybe you sway side to side a little bit if you choose to do that. Or you can also interlace your arms behind your legs. Feel that out as well. And wherever you are, whichever option you took, see if you can let your head be heavy. So notice if you're maybe pulling your neck up a little bit, if you can just let that go. Take one more round of breath here. And then if you have any sort of arm grip, go ahead and release that. With your next inhale, come up into a halfway lift. As you exhale, forward fold. Then slowly rise to stand. No rush to get there. You can imagine like you're going up one vertebrae at a time. Then once you're in standing, you can go ahead and step your feet about hip width distance apart and bring your palms to your sides with them facing forward, coming into Tadasana Mountain Pose. And take some time here to check in with yourself again. So maybe you close your eyes. Just notice how you feel. I feel really rooted through the bottoms of your feet into the ground. Really strong and stable. And go ahead and blink your eyes open. With your next inhale, bring your arms high above your head. And as you exhale, forward fold. Inhale for your halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands and step back to plank pose. From plank, lower all the way down to your bellies. Untuck your toes, lift up for your baby cobra. Then come back down. And then push up either through a tabletop or a plank back into downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, go ahead and walk your feet to your hands to come into a forward fold at the top of your mat. Inhale for your halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise to stand and bring your arms high. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, brings you into halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to plank pose. This time lower halfway down to chaturanga, so your arms are at 90 degrees. And then your inhale brings you into upward facing dog. And as you exhale, come into downward facing dog. So these are sun salutations. We'll take another couple rounds. And you can take whichever option feels best for you. So maybe that's the lower all the way down into cobra, the thing that we did that the first time, or the chaturanga into up dog, what we did the second time, or you can skip those flows altogether. So with your next inhale, bend your knees and look to the top of your mat. Exhale, step or jump there. Inhale for your halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise to stand and bring your arms high. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale for your halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to plank pose, and then take your flow, your version, back to downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, with your next inhale, bend your knees and look to the top of your mat. Exhale, make your way there. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, rise to stand and bring your arms high. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale for your halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands and step back to plank pose. Take your flow, we'll meet in downward facing dog. We'll take that one more time. With your next inhale, bend your knees and look to the top of your mat. Exhale, make your way there. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to plank. Take your flow. We'll meet in down dog. From downward facing dog, with your next inhale, go ahead and lift your left leg up high towards the sky to come into three-legged dog. Exhale, bring your left knee to your nose. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, back to knee to nose. Inhale, three-legged dog again. Exhale, knee to nose. Squeeze here, squeeze really tight. Try to actually touch your knee to your nose. And then plant your left foot in between your hands. Your back foot's going to spin down for a warrior one back foot. So if in front of you is 12 o'clock, then your back foot would be facing towards 2 o'clock. And once your feet are set, with your next inhale, rise up into warrior one. So in warrior one, you've got your palms facing each other with hands reaching upwards. And really engage your body here. So spread your fingers wide, engage your core by drawing your belly button in towards your spine. And while you're doing all of that, just check in again and see how your body feels. Like a warrior. Yeah. All right, from here, with your next exhale, go ahead and come into warrior two. So for warrior two, your back foot is going to spin out a little bit more. So now it's parallel with the short edge of your mat. Your arms are reaching out in two opposite directions. And same thing here. So continue to keep your body engaged. Spread your fingers wide, engage your core, and just notice how that feels. From here, with your next inhale, go ahead and reverse your warrior. So flip your front palm and reach back. Your back hand can either rest on your back leg, or it can come into a half bind at your low back. One more round of breath here. Then come into side angle or side angle prep. So the prep version is going to have your elbow resting on your knee. The regular version is to have your bottom arm just hang out. Your top arm will reach up towards the sky. Again, fingers spread wide. From here, we're going to add some back and forth motion again. So with your next inhale, reverse your warrior. And as you exhale, come into side angle. Inhale, reverse your warrior. And exhale, side angle. Again, moving back and forth at your own pace with your own breath. You can take another round up and down, and the next time you meet in your reverse warrior, we'll all meet there. From your reverse warrior, go ahead and come back into warrior two arms. You can straighten your front knee. We're going to get ready to come into triangle pose. If you want to scoot your back foot up a little bit for that, sometimes that feels better for some folks. Go ahead and do that. Once your feet are good, start to reach forward as you kick your hips back, and once you can't reach forward anymore, tick-tock your arms to come into triangle pose. Your bottom hand can rest anywhere on the mat, your foot, or your shin, whatever feels best for you. And keep a micro bend in your front knee to make sure we protect that joint. If you want a more generous bend, that's totally fine too. Just make sure it's not like hyperextended straight. Take one more round of breath here. And then you can come back up into warrior two arms. And then place your hands on your hips and step your back foot up to come into that warrior one angling again, but this time with a shorter stance. We're gonna come into pyramid pose. So from here with your next inhale, open your chest up to the sky as you look up to the sky. And as you exhale, fold over your front leg. Your hands can find the mat or, again, your ankle, shin, whatever feels best for you. And also, again, make sure you keep at least a micro bend in your front knee to not damage that joint. One more round of breath here. Then you can go ahead and place your hands on your hips again and slowly rise back up. And from here, go ahead and step your right foot up to meet your left, coming into standing at the top of your mat. And our next pose is going to be a tree pose. So we're going to be balancing on our left foot. And to start, you can bring your right ankle at a kickstand against your left. And if this feels great for you, you just want to stay here, that's totally fine. Otherwise, if you want to take a more full version of your tree, you can either bring your right foot against the inside of your calf or against the inside of your left thigh, just not on the knee, because again, we don't want to screw up that joint. So, losing my balance a little bit. And if you fall, it's totally okay. But once you're here, you can bring your hands to heart center. And if you want to take a different arm variation, you're welcome to do that too. So whether you grow your branches, or you do Pharaoh tree, or you do Christmas tree, or you do, I'm running out of ideas. I don't know. Reverse tree? I can't actually do that. You can do prayer hands behind your back if you want to, though. But yeah, whatever tree you want. All right, and then from here you can start to slowly come out of the pose. So you can bring your right foot back down to meet your left, and if you want to shake out your left foot a little bit, go ahead and do that. And from the top of your mat then, with your next inhale, bring your arms high above your head. As you exhale, forward fold. Inhale for your halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands to back to plank pose. Take your flow and we'll meet in downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, with your next inhale, go ahead and lift your right leg high behind you to come into three-legged dog. As you exhale, bring your right knee to your nose. Inhale for three-legged dog. Exhale, knee to nose. Inhale, three-legged dog. Exhale, knee to nose. Squeeze really tight here. Try to touch your knee to your nose. And then plant your right foot in between your hands. Your warrior one back foot is going to get set up again. So this time, if in front of you was 12 o'clock, your back foot's facing towards 10 o'clock. Then once your feet are set, inhale to rise up into warrior one. So same thing as last time. Really focus on staying engaged in this pose. So spread your fingers wide, engage your core, draw your belly button towards your spine. Notice how that feels. Take one more round of breath here. And then come into warrior two. Again, your back foot will spin out a little bit more. And then your hands will be reaching out in two opposite directions. Still maintaining that integrity of being engaged. From here, with your next inhale, flip your front palm and reverse your warrior. As you reach back, again, your back hand can find the option of either being at your back leg or at your low back. Reaching up, getting a nice side body stretch. And with your next exhale, let's meet in side angle or side angle prep. From here, we're going to get ready to do those back and forth movements again. So when you're feeling ready, with your next inhale, reverse your warrior. And as you exhale, side angle or side angle prep. Inhale, reverse. And exhale, side angle again. Feel free to go at your own pace. Take another round up and down, and the next time you are in your reverse warrior, we'll all meet there. Once you're back in your reverse warrior, go ahead and come back into warrior two arms. Straighten your front knee, and as we get ready to come in a triangle, again, you can scoot your back foot up a little bit if that feels better for you. Then reach forward as you kick your hips back. Once you can't reach anymore, tick-tock your arms to come into triangle, Trikonasana pose. Bottom hand can find anywhere that feels good. Left hand's reaching up towards the sky. Continue to breathe here. Take one more round of breath. Then you can rise back up into warrior two arms. Place your hands on your hips and angle your back foot at that warrior one back foot angling again. Getting ready to come into pyramid pose. With your next inhale, open your chest up towards the sky. As you exhale, fold over your front leg. Hands find anywhere that's comfortable, whether that's the mat, foot, or shin. See if you can let your head be a little bit more relaxed here. Let your neck be relaxed, just like in that forward fold that we did earlier. Take one more round of breath here. Then go ahead and place your hands back on your hips and slowly rise back up. Step your left foot up to meet your right, and we're going to come into tree pose on the second side. So again, you can start with that kickstand. If this feels great for you, you're welcome to just stay here. Otherwise, you can bring your left foot to the inside of your calf or your thigh, just not your knee. And again, you can find whatever tree you want to be. What kind of a tree do you want to be when you grow up? I did not think of any new ideas throughout that entire time. So, you know, if you thought of something, go ahead and take that. But yeah, whatever tree you like. Take one more round of breath here. And then you can go ahead and bring your left foot down to meet your right. And again, you can shake out your right foot this time a little bit if you like. And then go ahead and step your feet about hip width distance again. We're going to come into Tadasana Mountain Pose again. So you can have your palms down facing forward. Maybe close your eyes again. And check in with how you're feeling. And notice how what you're feeling now is maybe similar or different to what you were feeling earlier in Tadasana pose. I've gone through some more movement to build up some more heat, so maybe you're feeling some of that. And as always, know that whatever it is that you feel, it's totally okay to feel that way. And go ahead and blink your eyes open. With your next inhale, go ahead and bring your arms high above your head. As you exhale, forward fold. Inhale for your halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step back to plank pose, and take your flow. We'll meet in downward facing dog. From downward facing dog, you can go ahead and drop your knees to your mat to come into tabletop pose. And our next pose is going to be a camel. So you can go ahead and sit on your knees like so. You can have your toes tucked under or not tucked, whichever feels better for you. And so for this camel, we're not going to like really go that much into it. You know, sometimes you see people like having their hands on their ankles or on the ground or just like super back bendy. But instead, we're going to focus on some of that core engagement that we had done earlier. So you can go ahead and actually, to avoid, you know, the temptation to reach your hands back, just bring your arms into a goalpost. So cactus arms. And again, you can imagine those fingers spread wide like we were doing in the warriors. And engage your core too. So draw your belly button in towards your spine. And once you've got all of that engagement going on, you can start to lean back slowly into this camel pose. And if you start to lose that integrity of that engagement, if you start to notice your core slipping in terms of being able to keep it active, then back out of the pose a little bit. So only go as far as you can maintain all of that. You're doing great. Take one more round of breath, and then slowly come back up out of the camel. So when we do all that, it helps stabilize our body a little bit more. If you imagine if I just kind of throw myself into the back bend, it makes me, or you, whoever is doing the pose, a little bit more prone to injury. So when we've got all of that lockdown engagement going on, sure, maybe we're not going as deep into pose, but we're being more active and safe about it. So I'll take that one more time. You can go ahead and bring your arms up into that goalpost again once you're feeling ready. Get that engagement going on. Spread your fingers, engage your core. And then start to lean backwards, coming into camel. Again, if you start to find that you're not able to keep up with keeping everything active, you can back out of the camel a little bit. You're doing great. We're going to take another 3 rounds of breath here. Make sure you're still breathing. And slowly, you can start to rise back up, coming out of the pose. Nice work. We're going to meet in a counter pose. So you got a couple different options here. The first one is going to be an embryo pose. So for embryo, you can come down like this with your head on the mat and your arms reaching back towards your toes. Another option is child's pose, if you would like to bring your knees wide. So very similar. Still have your head on the mat and then have your palms reaching forward. So wherever you are, take some time to consciously relax again. Let your face be soft. And just notice how you're feeling now. Take one more round of breath here. And then slowly rise back up into tabletop pose. From table, you can go ahead and come on back into a seat. From your seat, you can extend your right leg long out in front of you with your left foot in by your right thigh. And we're going to come into a forward fold stretch here. So for this, if you want to bend your right knee more, especially if you have tighter hamstrings like me, this can help a little bit with not putting as much tension in your back when you go into the stretch. So you can also play with this once you're in a stretch too, so no worries if you don't know what you're doing right now. With your next inhale, go ahead and bring your arms high. And as you exhale, fold over your right leg. So again, once you're here, maybe you play with that extent to how much you're bending your right knee to find a spot that feels good for you. Find a stretch that is not too much, not too little. Goldilocks stretch, I guess. Don't steal other people's soup though, that's not cool. And just be here and relax. We'll take 5 more rounds of breath here. And slowly you can start to rise back up as you make your way out of this pose. All right, so keep your legs where they are and go ahead and take your right hand and put your right hand on your left hip. Then with your left hand, you're going to reach around, up, and over towards your right foot. So this is a nice side body stretch that we're getting here. take 2 more rounds of breath here. And slowly you can start to come back up and out of this pose. And still keeping your legs where they are, go ahead and I'm actually going to turn my angle a little bit to make this a little bit easier to see. You're going to put your right hand on the mat anywhere, and then your left hand with thumb pointed down is going to grab the outside of your right foot. And you can bend your right knee as much as you need to make this happen. So if it's a lot or maybe not a lot, whatever is totally fine. Then from here, push out with your right foot as you pull in with your left hand. So this is getting a nice stretch in your left side body. It can be a lot of different places. Sometimes if you're asking, where should I feel a stretch? It can also vary from person to person, just depending on what's more tight or what's more flexible in a given person's body. But generally speaking, somewhere on the left side for this, again, pushing out with your right foot and pulling in with your left hand. Take 1 more round of breath here, and then you can let go and slowly come back up, and we'll take a quick little side twist. By twisting over towards the left, you can bring your right hand to your left knee, and your left hand can rest behind you. Then come back to center, and now you can move your feet. We'll switch to the other side. So left foot out, right foot in. You do the hokey pokey, and you take a forward fold. All right, so with your next inhale, bring your arms high above your head, and as you exhale, fold over your left leg. And from here, again, you can experiment with how much you're bending your left knee. So maybe a lot, maybe a little. Find what feels good. And once you've found that spot that feels good, go ahead and let your spine be arched and let your head relax. Let your neck be relaxed. And just be here. Hold for another 5 rounds of breath. And slowly you can start to make your way back up. And we'll take that side body stretch variation again. So take your left hand and put your left hand on your right hip, and then reach your right hand up and over towards your left foot. Two more rounds of breath here. And slowly you can make your way out of the pose as you come back up. And then we'll take that push-pull asana pose, whatever it is. So your right hand with thumb pointed down is going to grab the outside of your left foot. Left hand can just be on the mat. Bend your left knee as much as you need to be able to grab a hold of your left foot. And then as you push out with your left foot, pull in with your right hand. Again, feeling this somewhere along your arm or in your right side body. One more round of breath here. And then you can go ahead and let go of that. Come back up and then take a quick side body twist over towards the right. Your right hand can be on your mat and your left hand on your knee. And then go ahead and bring it back to center. Our next pose is going to be legs up the wall. So if you want to find a wall to put your legs up against, go ahead and do that. If you don't want to do that or you don't have a wall, that's totally cool too. So wherever you are, go ahead and lie down on your back. Bring your legs up towards the sky. And for this, you really don't need to think about a specific shape with your legs. It's really whatever feels like you can relax the most. So it does not need to be, like 90 degrees, perfectly straight. It can be bent. It can be, whatever feels good. Then if you're up against the wall, you can go ahead and let your legs be heavy against the wall. Otherwise, just let your entire body be heavy against the mat. Close your eyes and again, soften your face, soften your body. And just be here or hold for 5 more rounds of breath. And slowly you can start to bend your knees as they come back down. If you are up against the wall, you can start to make your way back to your mat. We'll all meet in happy baby pose. So you can go ahead and grab your feet with your hands and pull your legs in towards your chest. And if this isn't quite accessible to you, you're definitely welcome to just grab a hold of your ankles or somewhere along your calves as well. It's totally fine. Maybe you sway side to side a little bit here. And then go ahead and hug your knees into your chest. Maybe continuing some of that swaying motion or drawing circles on your mat with your low back. I can draw other shapes too. I don't know. That'd be kind of hard though. Yeah, I don't know. Like triangle is pretty tough. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, we're going to with that same supine twist that we started with. So you can go ahead and let both knees drop over to the right. Your arms can find a goalpost or a T. Keys can face the left. And once you've found that spot that feels good for you, close your eyes, relax, and just be here in this pose. We'll take 5 more rounds of breath here. And slowly start to bring your knees back to center. And then let them drop over to the other side. Maybe change the direction of your gaze as well. Check in to see if there's anything else you can surrender a little bit more. Continue to breathe and be here. We'll take 5 more rounds of breath. And slowly bring your knees back to center. Give them a hug one more time. This time maybe bring your forehead to your knees, squeezing in real tight. And then let go into your final resting pose, Shavasana. Let your arms and your legs go long. Your feet can splay out and your palms can face the sky. Take the time here to just rest and relax and soak up the benefits of your practice. I'll let you know when time is up. Enjoy Shavasana.
As you continue to breathe here, start to wiggle your fingers and your toes as you bring some small, gentle movement back into your hands and feet. Circle out your wrists and your ankles. And bring some more movement into your arms and legs by gently shaking them out. You can then reach both arms up overhead for a full body stretch. Maybe shake your head from side to side if that feels good for you. And go ahead and bend your knees and roll onto either your right or your left side. You can use your bottom arm as a pillow. Taking a few rounds of breath, just being here. And slowly, whenever you feel ready, you can start to make your way into a seat. Again, no rush to get there. Once you're in your seat, you can go ahead and bring your hands to heart center. That's Anjali Mudra. Perhaps close your eyes with a soft downward bow of your head. Take some time to thank yourself for coming today, for doing something good for your mind and doing something good for your body, and for taking care of yourself so that you can in turn take care of others. We'll close with one breath together. So let your next exhale come out a little bit more deeply. Take a deep inhale. And exhale, let it all out. The light and the love in me sees and honors the light and the love in you. Namaste.